Moberly with the Avenues West Association, and we're very happy today to have a special guest out walking in the neighborhood with us.
When it comes to things like panhandling, those are quality of life issues. Those are things that can ruin a sense of community and ruin a quality of life just from a disturbance standpoint. Okay, we talk about panhandling. It's not a major crime and it isn't the crime of the century. However, it does affect the quality of life, and that's important.
True.
So when I got word, one of the residents called me directly and told me about this panhandling issue down around the freeway system down here. I deployed my resources and I said, make sure you connect with the Milwaukee Police Department so that we're sharing information, we're working together. Just because we push them away from the freeway entrance doesn't mean the problem's solved, because then it pushes it back into the neighborhood. And what I would imagine is the Milwaukee Police Department pushes it out of the neighborhood and as far to the valley as they can, but then and so the problem moves. But if we're working together, now we put a vice around them, and it's very difficult for them to operate here. And yeah, they'll move on to a different neighborhood, but displacement of crime, displacement of disorder is a legitimate police tactic. This neighborhood doesn't want it here. The goal is they go to another neighborhood, they say, we don't want it here. Go to another neighborhood, and then you got all these neighborhoods saying, as a community standard, we're not going to tolerate this behavior. That's when it will go away. What we do is we gather as much information as we can about what's going on out here. Calls for service, suspects, people on probation, parole. And we start to put all that together. Because what you'll find is the crime and disorder is really committed by a small percentage of the population, and they're known to the public. So what we do is we take all that information, we utilize software and technology, software programs to find patterns. That's what the data will do when you put it together. Okay. It will distinguish patterns of behavior, patterns of criminal activity. For instance, a burglary problem that might be going on in a particular area. As you mentioned, panhandling, which is a disorder problem. That way we can take the resources, and it's the phrase used is put the cops on the dots. We take the resources and put them where the things are happening. We know by time of day, we know by day of week, and it's amazing when you put all this data together, the patterns that it will show. So what we can do is intervene early. For instance, if you have 1 or 2 business burglaries in this neighborhood, before it gets to 10 and 12, because that's the nature of criminal activity, burglar will work a particular area. So he might hit the McDonald's this time, he might hit the church down the street, the next time might hit the gas station, and then, and so those patterns start to develop. With data-driven policing, the patterns are identified early on, and then we take those resources that would be effective against burglary and put them down there, and in a relative short period of time, you look at your field interview stops, information from traffic stops, you find patterns of people that really don't live in the area, and all of a sudden you look at their criminal history. That's another piece of data, and you say it's... So you're taking all this data, you put it together, it identifies patterns, and you can intervene in problems early on. That's what data-driven policing is. There's a strong sense of community here. They can tell by how the neighborhood's kept up. They can tell when there's law-abiding people on the street. That's what makes streets safe. Not having a lot of police in them, but having law-abiding people walking back and forth, visiting businesses, sitting out on their porches, enjoying a day like today. Because perpetrators of crime and disorder like to operate in anonymity. They don't like a lot of people around. So when they go to an area and they see a lot of people around, that tells them this is an organized effort down here to maintain a sense of community. Let me go where that's not so strong, and I'll be more successful there.
No hurry, had no worries, staying single.